Alright class, let's begin. So this is the third video installment here. This is going to be the longest one, probably all of them here. This is the xyzhomework.com site. What you do need to know is the course ID number. Very important in order to enter the class, this class particularly. So first of all, xyzhomework.com is the publisher website of the textbook we are using. And they have the homework is going to be built there. I'm also going to put all the gradebook stuff there. But in order to be entered into the class itself, you do need this course ID number 23056. Write it down. And so I'm kind of talking to two different populations here. Some of you guys already have an XYZ homework account. So this would be something very easy for you. You already understand it. You've already done the homework in previous classes for it. And the others are going to be, this is going to be a totally brand new thing, completely new thing for you. So be mindful, I'm going to try to be in the middle of both of those populations here. So first things first, let's go for it here. So you're going to go to xyzhomework.com. So let me get a new page open on mine. I'm going to put XYZ Homework.com. Alright, as you get to this, you're going to come to this page right here. So a few things here. I'm going to talk to the new students here. So the new students, if you want to click on this, open this up. It's kind of like a quick little guide. So your username is an email address. Now you can choose to get a private email address, the one you normally use. You could use the West Hills College issued email to you. It doesn't really matter. Either one's going to work just fine for this. And then the course ID number. Hopefully you wrote it down. Hopefully you have it. It's 23056. And that is important to go. So what we're going to go is we're going to go to the website. We're going to register as a new student. And you do have a 15-day free trial with the website itself. Alright, so you just need the course ID number. At least get in and go for it. Alright, a one-year subscription to XYZ costs $45. And as in the previous videos, I said the ebook is included in here. So if you just want to spend $45, $45 will get you to all the access, all the homework, your grades, as well as the ebook on it. Alright, so there it is. There's the two things you need to know in order to start. Let me go back now. How do you register as a new student? You click right over here. Click on this, put in your first name, last name, a password of your choosing. Click to I agree, click register. After that, a site's going to come up. It's going to ask you for two things. One is an access code. An access code is what you buy in order to use the system for the rest of the year. So if you already have an access code, you're fine. If you buy, so this is the access code gets you access more than the 15 days. So after 15 days, if you say, look, I want to continue to be in the class, then you need to buy the access code, $45. But the course ID number, you got to enter that. So 23056. Enter that, and what's going to happen is going to pop you back out to here, and it's going to say log in. So you're going to log in with that new created email. I already logged in. And you're going to have a list of courses right here. One of those courses is going to be 2020 Spring Math 64 C03. So let's enter our course right here. And so if this is something familiar to you, doing great. If this is something totally new for you, let's go through it together. Alright, so first things first, not to overwhelm you, I'm going to give you the student version of the look on this. Student version looks like this. You have a calendar, and it's set up for 5 weeks. Today is, as I'm recording it, the 22nd. And since the class is not actually live, you don't see the let's see, you don't see the due dates yet. I'll put them in just to make sure they're in there. So your first due date, let me go to instruction view. That did. So right here in the calendar, let's just talk about the calendar itself for now. The calendar here, the first day of class is the 24th, and you have a little bit of homework to do here. So first things first is this is your first homework due that's due. The Chapter 0 is just a practice chapter. That is not part of your grade. It is not due at all. Chapter 1 is what's need to be due, and then also the intro. So let me get you to the intro here. So once you click on, notice if I click on the 4th of March, there's nothing here. If I click on the 5th of March, then all these links show up right here, and that's what you want to do in order to go into the course. So Chapter 0 is practice, and it's kind of like its basic review of very basic pre-algebra. So if you want to go through it, I leave these out for you guys in case you want to go through it. First of all, just to kind of make sure that you know your stuff. If you want to review certain sections, go for it. Alright, Chapter 1 is where we begin. And then also introduction. This intro to homework, it's a good way, let me click on it here. It's a good way, it's a tutorial session on how to enter information into this system here. So I'll let you try it. If you have any questions, please ask me. So Introduction to XYZ is required, and then Chapter 1 is required. Alright, maybe let's go through it. Let's go through Chapter 1.1, just so you guys will see this here as you begin. So it looks like this. It says simplify the following expressions. So negative 4y minus y. So if you click on here, I got a couple of things to show you. If you just want to punch it in, negative 5y, that would be the answer. Notice you have this little preview section right here. And that's good because it gives you what you actually typed in. So that's a good thing to sort of see. And then afterwards it says syntax okay. And the reason why it says syntax okay is because the variables and how you're putting it in makes sense for this type of problem. Let me kind of switch it up. So it doesn't say that it's actually necessarily okay, but things match up, especially variables. Notice I put a 6t in there. I changed the variable to a t, and it says, look, check your variables again. I think some things you may be using the wrong one. So it's kind of those kind of things. It's a kind of catch, a little of a catch to help you make sure that you're doing everything correct. So I'm gonna put in the wrong answer. I'm gonna put 6y into here. Notice it says syntax okay. I know it's wrong, but again, the variable is correct. The formatting of the answer tends to be correct. Okay, that's one thing I want to show you here, so that how you enter things. The other one is this little palette right here. If you click on this little up arrow, it kind of gives you ways that you would write this or type it in the way you would normally see it if you were doing it on a sheet of paper. So like a fraction bar, you can enter fraction and say, look, it's 2, down arrow, put in 3, there's my 2/3, and that's the way I would normally see it on a sheet of paper. Alright, or square root. Let's say we're trying to put a square root. Put a square root in there and say that's the square root of 36. Again, the normal way you would write it. And if you're happy with that, you click save. And notice on this one didn't catch the fact that there's a variable issue, right? So again, not necessarily. So notice the computer language is actually to put an SQRT for square root 36, but you don't need to learn computer language if you have this little palette to put in things. Alright, so there's your basic functions, there's your pi, there's your infinity, then there's also your functions, and there's log function, nth root, there's your absolute value, and there's some trig functions. You won't need those for this course. Okay, so let's go and erase all that. And let me type in something wrong. Let me type in 6y, just sort of see it. So when you're ready for it, what you do is you click submit. And if it's wrong, it's going to show up like this. It's going to show up a little red piece there. Then it's also going to say try a similar. You don't want to do that one because it's going to change up the problem for you. And then you're setting up a whole new problem. Then you're trying to solve that when you're already having issues. Alright, so first things first. There's the points possible for it on it, and then also notice that you have 5 attempts per problem. So it's not like do this forever and never get the right answer and move on, but be strategic, thinking about why is this? Why am I getting it wrong? So for each problem you have 5 attempts. The other piece that you have is post this question to the forum. So if you click on this one, you're going to say, hey, anybody in the class did you guys solve number 1.1, question 1? And it's going to have the question itself underneath you, underneath the email there. So it gets posted to the forum. Forum kind of looks like this right here, and then you can actually click on, hey, chapter 1 forum, and you click on it, and it's going to have a thread of different questions here. So if you have extra time and if you want to go through the questions, if you want to help another person in class, go for it. I do look at this, and it's a means of getting a little extra credit, especially if I see a person that's answering a lot of questions on the forum. Okay, that's the little piece there. Okay, I'm going to go back to notice from the forum, what I did is I kind of clicked, here's forums, I clicked on this little piece right here, and that gets me back to the class itself. Alright, there's that. The midterm, notice this is the instructor view. It's available starting 30th of March, and all the new stuff starts at 3 a.m. That's the way they start, all the way till Wednesday, April 1st, and it's not an April Fool's joke at all. It is really true. The midterm is due on April Fool's Day. All right, final exam, it is just a single day exam. It's on 5/21, May 21st. It is due a little bit before midnight, Pacific Standard Time, so kind of be mindful of that. All right, so let's go through the pieces that are underneath here. So let me try the student view. So let me go over here and let's open up let's do the ebook first. So underneath the calendar, the first set is something called the ebook. So click on that. If you have an Xyz Homework account, it jumps you to this page right here. And you go on, click on Contents, and then let's just start in Chapter 1, Section 1. It's going to ask you whether, it has to remember me here. Alright, now we're good to go. Alright, so this is the textbook in its totality from beginning to end. So if you want to read 1.1 and kind of get to know what it's talking about, here's your ebook. It goes all the way from beginning. The cool thing about the ebook is that it has a little video player, and it has usually about 3 or 4 people that are actually going to explain the problem for you as well. So that's kind of cool there to sort of see. Alright, that's per problem. And then you have extra practice if you want. So it's really, from what I've seen other publishers do, this one actually did a pretty good job of helping you through the material. So there's even a homework section if you want to try homework by yourself. There it is. And as you try it, there's even, you can download the answers to the odd exercises to make sure you're doing them correctly. So there's that. So I think figure this, if you're stuck on the homework, maybe go to the textbook, see if you can read it to see if this makes sense to you. The mini lecture over here, it shows you which problems it is, but it's the author of the textbook itself, and he is explaining just a quick mini lecture of what the section is about, what you're going to encounter, and it's usually under 5 minutes, but it's almost like an introduction to the section. That's all. So there's that. I'm going to close that up. Okay, so that's the ebook. Again, use it. I think it's useful, especially if you get stuck on something, not quite sure on how to do this, something you've never seen before. That's a good resource to go to. Alright, so let's back up to here. Next is the answer guide. So this one is for entering homework questions. What I would do, that little, they call it a math quill. That little up arrow. It teaches you how to move in the up arrow. It teaches you how to put in things. How do you put in divide into the computer system? How do you put multiply? Multiply is that little star. So if you ever want to use multiply, it goes to the star. So just a little handy thing. You may want to just print it out, have it with you, just in case. If you want to put in pi, just put in pi, P-I, and that puts in pi for you. So just some quick things. Again, print it out will be helpful, I think. Alright, under the chapter headings, let's go chapter 1, since that's where we'll begin. This one just posts questions to the forum. I think as this becomes live, I think it's going to give you the same connections to the mini lecture that's over here after that. All right, with that said, let's go to the gradebook. Let's see how much this is. So, oh, that's why I'm in student mode. Let me put into instructor mode. Instructor mode, here it is. On the gradebook, this is the way you would read the gradebook. You'll have your name here, and it's going to go straight down. It's going to give you your percentages for each of the problems here. And so, notice all the chapter 0 that's not counted. You don't have to do those. Those are pre-algebra problems. If you want to try some just in case, just to kind of get your math juices flowing, go for it, all right? You started chapter 1, but the other thing that you got to do, let me go over here, because these are numbers. They're kind of set in first. So I'm going to scroll all the way. This is the way I see the gradebook. But you also have to do that little intro to XYZ homework. It's 7 points. That one you have to do. That is actually part of the point system for the class. All right. And then I'll deal with the gradebook a little bit further in the class when there's students in here. You guys can see your own. All right, there's also a message board that you click. You can email me a message if you need to. I usually don't check this one because it's actually an internal to XYZ. So if you do email me, just email me from the Canvas site. That'll be the best way to do it. Okay, cookie crumbs back over here. And hopefully that at least gets you started. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to email me. And again, the important number you need to get out of here is the course ID number 23056. All right, wish you the best in the class.